On September 10th, the air itself carries weight, and the unseen becomes sharper than the seen. This is not an ordinary date, it is a threshold, a passage where destiny can open or close depending on the choices you make. One step of awareness leads you closer to the gift prepared for you. One step of neglect, and it slips beyond reach. Many people believe the greatest dangers come from the outside world, storms, betrayals, sudden changes of fortune. But the true danger lies much closer. It rests in the mind that wanders without direction, in the heart that clings without balance, in the tongue that speaks without care. This is the mistake that must be avoided, for it can block blessings written for you long before your birth. In this teaching, you will uncover the hidden principles of Shaolin wisdom, lessons that are rarely spoken of outside the temple walls. You will learn why forgetfulness is the first enemy of destiny, why silence holds more strength than reaction, and how the body itself warns you when your spirit drifts from its path. We will walk through the traps of comparison, the weight of careless words, and the subtle ways that resistance to change can destroy the very gift you were waiting for. If you remain with me until the end, you will not only hear these lessons, you will carry them into your daily life. September 10th will no longer be a date of uncertainty, but a day of clarity and preparation. Welcome, chosen ones, to Shaolin Soulfire. My name is Sheheng Yi, and if you seek strength of spirit and mastery of the self, you have found your place. Subscribe now, and together we will walk the path of awareness, step by step. There are moments when the mind feels restless, as if 1,000 ripples move across the surface of a lake. In those moments, clarity disappears. You no longer see the reflection of the sky above or the depths below. This is the nature of forgetfulness. It does not arrive loudly, but silently, slipping into daily life until actions are driven not by awareness, but by impulse. The Shaolin masters often speak of the mind as water. Still water reveals everything. Disturbed water hides everything. When you forget presence, even the smallest disturbance grows into a storm. A careless word spoken in anger, a choice made without reflection, a step taken in haste. These are not small errors. They are doors through which destiny can change its course. On sacred days, such as September 10th, the consequences of forgetfulness weigh even more heavily. Why? Because certain times are like open gates. Energy flows more freely, intentions strike deeper, and actions echo farther than usual. To walk through such a day without awareness is like carrying fire in your hands without realizing it can burn. I have witnessed students who trained for years, but in one unguarded moment of forgetfulness, they broke their balance. A single lapse in presence led them into choices they later could not undo. This is why the teaching is clear. The root mistake is not outside, it is within. Forgetting yourself, forgetting to breathe, forgetting to watch the movement of your own thoughts. The chosen ones are not those who never fall, but those who remember to return. When presence is lost, they pause. When the water of the mind is disturbed, they wait for it to settle. In this waiting, clarity returns, and with it, the path becomes visible again. There is a quiet truth carried through centuries of wisdom. Suffering is not born from what enters our life, but from the way we cling to it. Fear and desire are two chains, different in shape, yet forged from the same metal. One pushes us away, the other pulls us forward, and both take us off the center path. In Shaolin practice, a disciple learns to face the fire of fear without running, and to hold the sweetness of desire without becoming drunk on it. To run from fear is to let it grow larger in the shadows. To chase desire is to give power to what may never truly satisfy. Both directions lead away from freedom. On sacred days, such as September 10th, these chains test the chosen ones more sharply. The day itself becomes like a mirror, showing whether the heart is steady or restless. Those who cling will feel heaviness, as if every step sinks deeper into the ground. Those who release will feel lightness, as if the path clears before them. Stories from the old masters tell of warriors who entered battle not with a thirst for victory nor a fear of defeat, but with a calm mind that moved only in harmony with the present moment. This was their secret strength. They could not be bought by desire nor broken by fear. Inner mastery means noticing when the heart leans too far in either direction. Discipline means returning it to the center again and again until balance becomes natural. In that balance, fear and desire lose their grip. On September 10th, the question will not be whether fear or desire appear. They always do. The question is whether you remain the master or whether the chains decide your path. There are times when the world seems to move faster than the heartbeat. Noise grows louder, demands multiply, and events push against one another like waves in a storm. In these moments, many forget the oldest lesson: true power is not found in reaction, but in stillness. The Shaolin masters compare life to a great tree in the wind. Branches may shake, leaves may scatter, yet the roots remain unmoved. Without stillness, we become like loose leaves, tossed endlessly by forces we cannot control. But with stillness, we stand rooted, unshaken, able to face the storm without being carried away. When chaos rises, the first response is often haste, speaking too quickly, deciding too suddenly, acting from emotion rather than wisdom. But stillness begins with something simple: the breath. To pause, to draw air into the body with awareness, is to return to the center. From this center, clarity appears where confusion once ruled. Ancient teachings remind us that blessings cannot enter a restless vessel. Just as muddy water cannot reflect the moon, a restless mind cannot hold the light of destiny. On days of heightened energy, such as September 10th, this truth becomes even more critical. The more restless one becomes, the further the blessing drifts. Stories tell of warriors who waited motionless on the battlefield, appearing as statues while chaos raged around them. They did not waste strength in panic. They conserved it, breathed deeply, and when the time came, they moved with precision. Stillness was not weakness, it was hidden power. Losing inner stillness is losing the key to the door of destiny. To remain calm when the world shakes is to open that door. And once opened, the blessings long written for you are free to enter. The body speaks in whispers, yet most of its messages go unnoticed. A subtle tension in the shoulders, a restless night, a sudden fatigue. These are not mere inconveniences. They are signals, the language of the body, reminding us that it carries more than weight and movement. It carries wisdom. For centuries, the Shaolin masters have taught that the body is the vessel of spirit. It is the home where energy flows, where clarity takes root, and where destiny is enacted, neglected, and the flow is interrupted. Skip rest, and the mind falters. Ignore breath, and the spirit grows heavy. Consume without care, and the body rebels, dragging the soul into imbalance. The chosen ones understand that mastery is not only in thought or intention, it is in harmony with the body. Discipline begins not with harsh force, but with gentle listening, noticing hunger, honoring fatigue, adjusting posture, breathing deeply, moving with awareness. Each small act of care strengthens the connection between flesh and spirit. Ancient texts speak of warriors who trained for decades yet failed in a single day because they ignored the signals of their own bodies. Their minds were sharp, their hearts courageous, but their vessels were weak. Without a healthy body, destiny falters. Blessings arrive yet cannot be received fully because the vessel is closed. On sacred days, such as September 10th, the body's wisdom becomes even more pronounced. Energy shifts more subtly, and misalignment is magnified. To navigate these shifts, the chosen ones must honor the body as they honor the spirit. Rest when it calls, nourish it thoughtfully, breathe with intention. In this care, the body becomes more than a vessel. It becomes an instrument through which destiny can flow unhindered, precise and alive. The path to inner mastery is never complete without this attention. The body remembers what the mind may forget, and in its alignment, true power awakens. Words carry weight far greater than many realize. They are not mere sounds or symbols, but seeds planted into the soil of life. Once spoken, they take root, grow, and shape the world in ways the speaker may never see. A careless word can sprout doubt, fear, or conflict, while a thoughtful word can nurture clarity, courage, and connection. The Shaolin masters teach that mastery begins with control of the tongue. The mind may wander, the heart may tremble, yet the tongue must remain steady. Discipline is not silence alone, but conscious expression. Every syllable becomes a reflection of inner balance, a measure of self-mastery. To speak without awareness is to release chaos into the world. On days of heightened energy, such as September 10th, this lesson becomes urgent. The air carries intentions more swiftly. Energy magnifies both thought and speech. A single careless remark can unravel carefully cultivated blessings, turning opportunity into regret. Words left unchecked can drift like arrows into the lives of others, striking where precision was needed. Ancient teachings remind us that the wise do not speak only to be heard. They speak to bring alignment between thought, heart, and action. They pause, they consider, they measure the ripples their words will create. In this stillness, words become instruments of growth rather than instruments of harm. Stories tell of disciples who, in moments of haste, allowed anger or vanity to guide their speech. Their intentions were pure, yet the results were destructive. What could have flourished was lost because the seeds were sown without care. Mastery, therefore, is not in force but in restraint. To speak with awareness is to plant life intentionally. On this day, the chosen ones must remember that words are not fleeting, they are the carriers of reality, and in their careful use, blessings are allowed to grow undisturbed. There is a subtle danger that appears quietly, like a shadow crossing the path. It comes when the mind looks outward instead of inward, measuring its worth against the lives, successes, or possessions of others. This is the trap of comparison, and it is one of the most insidious obstacles to inner mastery. The Shaolin teachings remind us that every destiny is unique. Just as no two rivers follow the same course, no two lives are meant to mirror each other. When we compare, we step out of our own current and attempt to swim in another's flow. Strength weakens, patience falters, and clarity becomes clouded. The path becomes less about awakening and more about chasing illusions. On sacred days, such as September 10th, the trap becomes more pronounced. Energy flows differently, and the pressure to measure oneself against external standards intensifies. The chosen ones may feel urgency or impatience, wondering why progress seems slower than that of others. In this doubt, the mind creates barriers where none existed, and blessings that were ready to unfold are delayed. Ancient stories tell of disciples who abandoned their own rhythm to follow another's path. Some achieved temporary success, yet found emptiness where fulfillment should have been. Their gifts, once aligned with their unique destiny, became obscured because they forgot the wisdom of timing and self-trust. Inner mastery is not in speed, imitation, or comparison. It is in attention to your own growth, in honoring your own rhythm, in listening to the subtle signs of your journey. Discipline is the courage to remain in your own current, even when the world moves differently around you. When faith in your own timing remains unshaken, fear of falling behind dissolves. You move in harmony with the flow meant only for you, and the gifts written for your path are allowed to arrive in their perfect time. There is a power that grows quietly, almost invisibly, through small, consistent actions repeated over time. Shaolin training is built on this principle: repetition with awareness. Every movement, every breath, every moment of stillness is a thread woven into the fabric of inner strength. Neglecting even a single thread weakens the whole tapestry. Daily practice, whether it is meditation, reflection, or mindful movement, anchors the mind and aligns the spirit. Without it, intentions become scattered, clarity diminishes, and energy flows in uncertain directions. The body may act, but the spirit drifts. The heart may speak, but the words carry little weight. This is why discipline matters more than motivation. Motivation rises and falls like the wind, but discipline is the steady river that nourishes the soul. On September 10th, this truth becomes undeniable. The day carries a heightened energy, a spiritual window that responds to the alignment of mind, body, and spirit. Those who skip their practices on such a day may feel imbalance more sharply, as though unseen currents push them off course. What could have been received with ease becomes obscured by negligence. Ancient masters understood that mastery is not built in grand gestures or sudden insight. It is earned in the quiet, repetitive acts performed with full attention. Each prayer, each breath, each reflective pause strengthens the connection between self and destiny. Stories speak of disciples who faltered because they allowed days to pass without practice. Their hearts were willing, yet the strength to act decisively was weakened. Conversely, those who honored their daily discipline even in moments of fatigue or distraction stood resilient, ready to receive what the universe placed before them. True mastery emerges from this rhythm of commitment. Daily practice is not a task, it is the foundation of alignment, the bridge between potential and manifestation, and the key to walking with clarity when sacred days demand your presence. There is a subtle force that moves through all life, guiding growth, transformation, and the unfolding of destiny. It cannot be seen, yet its presence is felt in the shifts of circumstance, the openings of opportunity, and the quiet nudges of intuition. True mastery is learning to move with this current, to flow like water rather than resist the inevitable. Water does not fight the shape of the riverbed. It does not cling to rocks or linger in pools where it cannot advance. It adapts, bends, and finds the path of least resistance, yet it carries immense strength within its motion. So too must the mind and heart learn to yield when life calls for growth. The mistake lies in holding tightly to old ways, habits, or thoughts when the moment demands change. To resist is to create friction that blocks progress, obscures clarity, and delays blessings. September 10th magnifies this lesson. The energies of the day highlight those who cling, revealing the weight of resistance. Opportunities arrive, but are often missed by those unwilling to bend. Moments of destiny written long before can slip past quietly because the heart refused to open to the flow of transformation. Ancient masters often spoke of disciples who struggled because they clung to past triumphs or familiar routines. Their skill alone was not enough. Without adaptability, they became rigid, unable to receive the gifts that awaited them. Conversely, those who moved with the tide, who released attachment to old forms, were not only prepared, they thrived. Inner mastery is not in permanence, but in alignment. Discipline is not in holding on, but in knowing when to release. By flowing like water, embracing change with awareness, and trusting the unseen currents, the chosen ones remain ready. On this sacred day, bending with life is not weakness, it is the vessel through which destiny flows unobstructed. There is a quiet strength in the heart that many overlook, a power far greater than force or skill. To close the heart is to turn away from the flow of life itself, to block the channels through which wisdom, connection, and blessings arrive. The greatest mistake a disciple can make is to build walls where openness should dwell. Shaolin teachings emphasize that mastery is not only in control of the body or clarity of mind, but in the cultivation of compassion. Kindness is not a weakness, it is a practice of strength. When the heart remains open, it becomes a vessel for energy to move freely. It receives insight, nurtures growth, and allows harmony to enter. Without this openness, even the most disciplined practice may falter, and opportunities that are meant to reach you slip silently past. On sacred days, such as September 10th, the consequences of a closed heart are magnified. Energy flows more intensely, connections become sharper, and intentions resonate with greater power. A heart locked in fear, pride, or distrust cannot receive the blessings that were written to enter. Every act of generosity, every moment of understanding, every gesture of compassion opens a door, however small, through which destiny can flow. Ancient stories tell of warriors and monks who, despite great skill, failed to achieve their true purpose because they resisted vulnerability. Those who practiced patience, empathy, and openness, however, found that doors appeared where no path had been visible before. Life itself responded to their readiness to give and to receive. Inner mastery requires the courage to keep the heart unclenched. Discipline is found not only in posture or meditation, but in the willingness to approach others with warmth, to act with understanding, and to move through life with an open hand. Only then can the blessings of the universe reach their destined place, guided by the gentle strength of a heart that chooses connection over isolation. September 10th arrives not as an ordinary day, but as a quiet test of presence and awareness. The challenges it brings, the temptations of forgetfulness, the pull of fear and desire, the turbulence of chaos, the neglect of practice, careless words, comparison and resistance, are reminders of the path the chosen ones must walk. Yet, within these trials lies opportunity. Through stillness the mind finds clarity. Through discipline the spirit remains aligned. Through compassion the heart opens and the blessings long written for you are able to flow. Mastery is not found in force or haste, but in gentle awareness, in the mindful choices made moment by moment, in the courage to remain present and aligned with one's destiny. As you move through your day, carry this teaching with you. Pause, breathe, reflect, and act with intention. Let each step be guided by awareness, and let each choice honor the unique path that is yours alone. By living with this quiet mastery, even ordinary moments become sacred, and the unseen currents of life move in your favor. May you walk through September 10th with calm presence and openness. May your mind remain still, your heart compassionate, and your spirit aligned with the blessings written for you. If this teaching resonates, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Shaolin Soulfire. Join us as we continue to explore the timeless wisdom that nurtures the mind, body, and spirit, guiding the chosen ones along the path of true mastery.